Uh, this is going to be the week 5 session, as I'm not going to be able to attend tomorrow, as we're celebrating, we're having a holiday. So what I want to do is I want to spend the next half an hour discussing the the thing that we wanted to continue to discuss about MVC. And so last session we talked about the V and the C in the application. Just want to remind everybody what we're doing. We were having this thing where everybody can write their name, hello class, and then you could see the message, and then hello Yahav, if somebody can come and comment it. And then we had some issue with that, and we're going to go through that really during this lecture. But I guess that what we did basically is that we discussed the how the page look like, and how we render, and how we rendering all the objects here in the and what is the pattern that we are using in order to deploy correctly all the pieces in this page. And just a quick reminder, we had the HTML, which is the main environment for setting all these things, and we saw how this is populated with respect to the controller and the viewer, as we're gonna see in very soon. Essentially, we have here a body that is comprised of field, as you can see it here, and then a button. And when we press the button, we expect that this function going to be executed. And when we say this function is going to be executed, it is done through the controller, which is the C part in the MVC. And the controller is written in the control.js. And we saw basically that when you do on Redis, this is the code that is going to execute it. Essentially, the JavaScript will initiate a local call to map.php and will ask to set a key message with a value of the things that somebody gonna write here. Okay? And essentially, whatever anybody just load the page, this part going to be executed, which is essentially getting the key from the messages, getting all the messages that was written so far, and just delimited by a comma, and basically just write them. Okay, as you can see here. But this is a really quick overview of what we did last time. What we're going to do today is to handle this part. Okay, the brain that knows how to get stuff and how to set stuff. Okay, so let's look at map.php. Map.php is a PHP file that includes two options. Okay, the first thing that it asks, it first of all load the pRedis, which is the Redis client, because it's going to use the Redis client in order to push things into Redis. So this is essentially masking you from knowing how the client will look like. We just implemented here a web client where everybody who have access to the internet and the browser can basically get and set items on our database. So let's just go really quick on what we see here. Is the first line, the first if statement asks whether there is a command set. Okay, and basically this is what you see usually when we send a command. So this is the format. We are adding cmd. Okay, and then if it's true, then it means that we can start. We have a valid command. All these things are initiating the client setup in order to respond, and so essentially when you see here Redis master, it's basically point to the Redis master host. And if we go down a little bit, we can see here that if there is a command that is set, then we are doing it on, so then we're gonna initiate this client, and we are going to set the value of this client of this key based on the client setup here. The reason that we are setting up the client here and in also for the get option, which is the else thing, is that sometimes Redis we can run, and we're going to see that we're going to run when we're going to run high available setup, we are going to use multiple Redis instances where the Redis slaves will be open for read and write, and the Redis master will be open only for read. So essentially, it's the opposite. If you want to write into Redis, you can, I mean, setting information and appending information, you will use the Redis master. And if you want to read, just like doing get, then you will read it from the Redis slave. For simplicity, what we did here, if you can see, etc host, you can see that both the local machine that we are working on is the Redis master and the Redis slave. So essentially is the same thing. When we're going to run again in high available setup configuration, you will see that those are running on different nodes, on different VMs. So so I guess that the map.php is fairly simple. If an else statement, we are basically asking if there is some kind of command, and if the command is set, we are basically executing this command. Basically, this set the key and the value, and if it's not where do we see it here? If it's not set, it means that it's get, because this is what we support right now. It will simply do the same thing, but on the Redis slave, and it will do get this thing, and then it will return. This prints back to the client. Okay, and essentially we can we can see it here. So let's see. We can, instead of inserting the information from here, we can go and interact with the database in the same way that controller.js does it. Okay, you can see it here. You can see it here. So instead of asking the application to do it, we're going to do it. How we know how to do it? If we don't want to open this file, what we can do, basically, we can track what is going on through the access log. So I'm going to go var apache var log apache access log, and I'm going to basically do this thing. I'm gonna reload the page, and when I'm reloading the page, so there was a get to slash, which is what I did basically here, and then there is a call to the controller.js. Remember that this is what I said, that when you load the file, you are executing one of the portions in the control.js, and the control.js, this portion executed this command. So instead of doing this thing, we can do the same thing here. You see, these are all the details that are listed, and basically it is done through get key messages. Okay, and now let's look at the set command. So let's go back here and we will try to mimic the get command, the set command. So we are going to, by the way, when you do tail -f, you're just opening the file and you are listening to all kinds of events that are happening. So now I'm gonna write hello class again. Hello class, and this is, yeah, so we are now, okay, we are now on the second part, so we're going to set it up, and you can see here that the get here was my PHP set key messages value, and look at what happened here. It's basically wrote here hello, and this is our portion, hello class. And now if we do this part, if we're going to do get command map.php get messages, you will see, where is it? Oh, that's funny, because I see the hello class. So we have another bug here, that when I wrote hello class number 2, it didn't respect the hashtag. Huh. That's interesting. So let's, but you can see it here essentially. See, it was omitted. So it was written, but it was not written into the database. So this is another bug. So hello, let me just verify number 7, and you can see it here. And then if I'm gonna load it, it's not gonna have it. We were not gonna have it because the number 7 was not there. So hello, yeah, okay, let's see, and if I'm loading it, that's fine, and you can see that all these things are happening here. So what I showed you, what we see here basically, and we discussed this also last week, is that the way, because that this application support this database, the map.php, supports only get and set, in order to preserve consistency, the application loads all this thing when you press here something, like when you press here a message. When we press here a message, this message is appended into all these things, and then it is getting pushed into the database. This obviously doesn't make sense, because if you think about it, when you run a big application and you have a thread, you have let's look at what we're doing here. Okay, we have all this thing and it's pretty long. So every time that somebody is putting in a message here, it will have to reload the entire thing again and again and again. So what we need to do is basically we want to optimize. We want to optimize this thing, so when we do send, okay, we will send and we will update only this portion. Okay, so what I'm going to do during this session is basically I'm gonna show you how we are optimizing the database. So it will support not just set and get, it will support also an append. And basically what you will have to do, you will have to go and modify the controller. Okay, so you will support, so instead of so when you want to append the details, you will not have to push all the existing messages again and again and again. And this is what happens here. Okay, so a clue for your homework is to fix this part. Okay, basically, more specifically, this part. Okay, But let's get started and see how we can append. So I prepared, in order to keep your application, your sample application up and running, I created an app.php. Okay, but once that we have the app.php running and functioning as we want, we can always go and modify the controller, and instead of writing map, we can write app. It's just a matter of what type of client we want to implement. But so let's see what we have here. Just a quick demo. When I am doing a PHP, I can set a command. Let's see. I do get on command on key class, and you can see that it's empty. And if I am going to do set, okay, key, I will have to add value, val, and I'm gonna start with me. Okay, I'm gonna start with me. What? Undefined index. Set key class. Value. Okay, I'm sorry, this was supposed to be value, not val. Okay, so now we're gonna do get class again, and you're gonna see Yahoo. Now, if I want to append, I want to add Anderson, so I can do append. And now, when I am doing get class, I can see Anderson. Okay. So basically, what we see here, that we have another option to append. Okay, and you will see that it's fairly simple how it was implemented. So just for simplicity, instead of doing if and else, because I have many options, and you can see in the future we're gonna have more and more options. We would like to know and to process the information and to get all kinds of information and counters. So what we are going to do, basically, we are going to add more and more cases, okay, to the switch case. So what we see here, it's something very similar. We are asking, hey, are you having any command? If yes, okay, let's see. If you have let's start and initiate the Redis master, and we say if the command is set, initiate the command, the pRedis client, and then simply set the information, the key and the value, and print message updated as the controller expects. And this is what we had before, and this is the new addition. Okay, what we can see here is that when you launch the client here, instead of doing the set, you can do append. Okay, is that simple. Okay, it's basically another command, and you can see here the get as it is in the original map. You can see that you get the key. You can get the key from the $_get, and then you basically initiate the client, and then it is listed in value, and you print it back to the client, and then hopefully this is the get. It is delimited with a comma, and then your controller know how to read it. Okay, you can read through what I did below, what I added below, but it's basically other enhancement, like value count by key if you want to know, but this is not important for this week. I want you to stay focused on our goal. So basically, now that we know how to handle it, we can avoid the bug that we had before, and the bug was this. So now I'm going to show you what is the bug that I want you to fix. So we have this thing, and we have all this list, and then I'm going to say hello Anderson. I'm sorry, Anderson, for just remember your name. So I have here hello Anderson, and then when I ask you to write this thing, I'm not gonna load it. I'm gonna write hello Yahav, okay, because you responded and you answered here. And now when I'm gonna go back, I don't have hello Anderson, and the reason is that I did not load the hello Anderson to here. So let's see if how it could be mitigated, given the bug that we have. Hello Anderson. So I would load it first. I have hello Anderson, and then I will say hello Yahav. Then load it. So I guess that you see what I'm saying here. You have to load in order to keep the things persistent. You have to load the entire thing from the database in order to make sure that when you're gonna add your message here and press send, it will include all these things together with this thing, together with the new message into the database. And I guess that and as I showed you, the reason is that it doesn't have support to append. This is why it has only set and get. So what I want you to do basically is work on your you can implement your own controller .js, modify here the map into app, okay, or do whatever you want. And basically, so what we need to what the desired behavior will be is that whenever I add things here, I don't need to load it. It's just gonna, when I'm gonna press send, the SSS will be appended without copying all these things. And the way to test it is basically toggle between two screens, here, this screen and this screen, without doing a refresh, because the refresh is actually mitigating your problems because it's loading the entire thing. But this is, as I said, it doesn't scale. I hope that I was able to help you. All this information, all the code and all the samples that I showed you exist in GitHub and in the server that we are sharing. I also want you to work on installing your own Ready server. So it's a good exercise, so you will be able to do all these experiments by yourself. And if you have a question, please post this question here. I'm here to help you. And see you in 2 weeks.